Hello guys, welcome back to LR Anime. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of BTTH Rebirth of Emperor Yang episode number 236 based on novel. So let's start. Hearing the words of the great ape, Xiao Yan's frown suddenly wrinkled deeper. So, he ran this trip hard in exchange for only an 8-star emperor? With this in mind, Xiao Yan's heart suddenly sank. It's difficult for the strong to play a key role in this level of battle. If it's just like this, his trip may be in vain. When the great ape in the sky noticed that Xiao Yan's face suddenly became gloomy, his heart was also worried. He was afraid that this guy would leave himself here because he could not achieve his desired goal. In that way, even if he could leave the cave below, he would not be sealed in this small world forever. Cough, in fact, my cultivation can be recovered. He coughed twice, and the great apes all over the sky hurried. Hearing the speech, Xiao Yan's face, which had just sunk down, suddenly swept a touch of dawn, and the eyes of the giant ape in front of him were also shining. How do I recover? Pass the pill. Then the great ape stretched out a finger and looked at Xiao Yang a little farther away. A light immediately crossed the void and fell in Xiao Yang's hand in the twinkling of an eye. It was a scroll. When Xiao Yang opened the scroll, the first line of words that came into his eyes immediately dimmed the dawn of hope that had just risen in his heart. Purple jade pill, 5th order pill. Not to mention the effect of this pill, just the 4 words of the 5th order pill are enough to extinguish this ray of dawn. The 5th level pill, even if Xiao Yang can refine it, it will take a long time, but at present, what Xiao Yang lacks most is time. 10 days later, the war between Xiao Men and Qin Huangmi Valley will officially begin. There is not much time left for Xiao Yang. It is even more impossible for him to refine a 5-level pill in 10 days. Hey, I can feel the smell of strange fire in your body. If I guess well, you should be a herbalist. If you can refine this purple jade pill, I fully agree to join your power. With a smile, the great ape seemed to be pleased with his wisdom. Now he not only escaped the seal, but also had the opportunity to recover his cultivation, which was the blessing of God. However, it was a pity that Xiao Yang frowned and shook his head in the face of the words of the great ape. While returning the scroll in his hand, he said helplessly, "Sorry, I'm afraid it's too late. We only have 10 days left. We have to refine a 5-level pill in 10 days. I think you should know that this is impossible, so I'm sorry." After the words fell, Xiao Yang turned around, and the scale snake on one side sighed a little disappointed. They turned around together and wanted to leave. Then, just as the two were about to turn around and leave, the great ape behind made a sound again and called Xiao Yang. Wait a minute. Xiao Yang was stunned. This time, he was not bluffing this guy, but why did he call him? Maybe. It's not completely impossible. At the same time, the huge body of the great ape transformed. However, in the twinkling of an eye, it turned into a strong man with bare upper body. When you look at it, you can clearly see that there is a very obvious scar on the man's chin. Hearing the words in the other party's mouth, Xiao Yang was stunned in his eyes. Listen to this tone, is there anything else possible? Then, in the suspicious eyes of Xiao Yang, the strong man stretched out his hand and pointed to the ground below. They also found that although the great apes had broken the seal, the 7 stone platforms as the foundation had not been affected and still stood in place safely under the 7 completely broken stone pillars. With Xiao Yang's eyes looking, the strong man said again, "These 7 arrays were left by the owner of the ruins to trap me here, but with the passage of time and some of my influence, these 7 arrays have already changed by themselves in the long river of time. The 7 stone pillars are only used by the outside world to stabilize the array. Only the 7 stone platforms below are the sharp tools that are really used to trap me." These words are not enough to attract Xiao Yang's attention, but the words after the strong man explain the particularity of this array for Xiao Yang. With the evolution of the stone platform, the 7 stone platforms contain an extremely huge force of space, so that a special node is derived somewhere in the space under the 7 stone platforms. At that node, the concept of time is controlled quite skillfully. According to the strong man, time at that node will become very slow. I'm afraid one day, it will be equivalent to 10 days outside. However, although the benefits are great, It is also very difficult to control that node. Because of this, in such a long period of time, the great ape did not use that node to restore his cultivation. If Xiao Yang can try to control that node and succeed, it is not impossible for him to refine a purple jade pill in 10 days. Hearing what the strong man said, Xiao Yang couldn't help feeling a little touched. If it was really like what the strong man said, as long as they could successfully control the node and refine the purple jade pill, they could add another strong person at the source level to the Xiao Men. Although I don't know whether he can succeed, now that the array has been broken, the space under the stone platform is no longer blocked. Instead of looking around, he might as well go in and have a try. After giving orders to the scale snake, Xiao Yang jumped into the cave below, and the scale snake looked at the strong man in front of him. Although his words were very moving, he must also keep an eye on the latter before confirming that everything was correct. Once there was any problem with Xiao Yang, he would kill this guy here at the first time. Although there is only 1-star difference between the 8-star duty and the 9-star duty, if the scale snake shoots, it is fully confident that it can successfully kill this guy. After Xiao Yang entered the cave, in the dark space with no light on all sides, Xiao Yang relied on his huge soul power. After some search, there really exists an extremely special energy node somewhere in this space, which is what the strong man said. With curiosity and caution in his heart, Xiao Yang slowly approached the energy node. When his whole person came to the node, some force in Xiao Yang suddenly gathered outside involuntarily, and this was his avenue of emptiness. Xiao Yang was surprised when he noticed the abnormality of the void avenue. Then, when he explored the energy node in front of him with his soul power, he suddenly realized it. At the same time, a feeling of ecstasy also rose rapidly in his heart. What Xiao Yang never thought of was that what this so-called energy node contains is not the power of space, but the power of the road, belongs to the power of the void avenue. When the power of the great road in Xiao Yang's body was completely condensed in front of him, Xiao Yang was even more surprised to find that the power of the great road contained in the energy node in front of him was no worse than what he had in his body, and even richer. This also shows that if Xiao Yang can absorb all the power of these roads, the number of tenths he can condense may at least be twice as much as now. The cultivation of the power of the road is undoubtedly several times more difficult than fighting qi and source qi. Rao is able to condense a water curtain with the capital of Tianzong like Shui Miao. Now, what is placed in front of Xiao Yang is equivalent to 10 tenths. How can Xiao Yang miss such gifts from heaven and earth? With a move in his mind, Xiao Yang controlled his own void avenue and slowly approached the energy node in front of him until the moment they touched each other. After confirming that the two forces did not cause any conflict, he took a sigh of relief in his heart. Then, he continued to connect and integrate all the remaining forces of the avenue with it with a nervous mood. Finally, all the power of the great road in Xiao Yang's body fused with the energy node in front of him, and the volume occupied by the energy node in front of him also expanded a lot. At the same time, at the moment of the successful integration of the forces of the two roads, Xiao Yang suddenly had an illusion in his heart, as if the originally ownerless energy node had suddenly found its master. There was a subtle connection between Xiao Yang and the energy node. Let him clearly know all the changes in this energy node and the magnitude of its power. Thinking of this, Xiao Yang suddenly moved. Although he didn't dare to have a complete grasp, he still tried to control it with the help of the slightest connection between himself and the energy node in front of him. When Xiao Yang saw that a large mass of dark energy in front of him began to creep, the latter's dark eyes suddenly gushed out an excited look. Sure enough, the control of this energy node has fallen into Xiao Yang's hands. With the power of his own part of the road, Xiao Yang successfully linked the two forces. This makes the control of this energy node fall into Xiao Yang's hands without accident. Now, this energy node is completely under Xiao Yang's control. In addition, after Xiao Yang's exploration, he also clearly realized that, as the strong man said, the concept of time in this ability node is several times slower than that in the outside world. That is to say, it is really not a problem to refine purple jade pill within 10 days with the help of the special effect of this energy node. This time will be much shorter than expected. At the same time, the external scale snake and the great ape are also waiting for Xiao Yang's news, but their purposes are different. Just as the scale snake was impatient and fell his cold eyes on the great ape, Xiao Yang's voice suddenly came from the whole *** below. Scale Snake, I have successfully controlled this energy node. I'll trouble you in the next few days. Hearing this, the Scale Snake's nervous mood calmed down and replied. When he looked at the giant ape again, he found that even the latter's face was a happy expression, which made the Scale Snake's heart alert. Then he simply dodged and landed on the ground below and guarded the side of the cave. The sight was always paying attention to the naked man in mid-air. The latter doesn't care about this. At the moment, his focus is all on Xiao Yang. In other words, the latter is the purple jade pill to be refined. As long as Xiao Yang can refine the purple jade pill, his cultivation will be able to recover. At that time, he won't be afraid of the guy with triangular eyes in front of him. In the cave, Xiao Yang's mind moved, and an invisible force immediately spread over the energy node, enveloping Xiao Yang and a small space around him. Immediately, Xiao Yang could clearly perceive that within the space enveloped by that force, whether it is the density of the space itself or the flow speed of the airflow in the middle, it was all changed in an instant. Together with Xiao Yang's own breath, it was also a meal. When he breathed again, he was even shocked to feel that he had not breathed for a long time, and the whole person's face became purple in the twinkling of an eye. Immediately, after more than 10 minutes, his eyes opened angrily again. Oreo is so. The deep shock color in his eyes has not been erased for a long time. For a long time, Xiao Yang sat and stood in the dark space with a lingering fear. With a flick of his fingers, the cyan and golden luo tianding also appeared. With the pill and some medicinal materials given to him by the great ape, and some of Xiao Yang's own reserves, he can barely collect 5 pairs of medicinal materials for refining pills, but relatively speaking, this quantity is very considerable. After that, Xiao Yang quickly calmed his mind, that is, he didn't stop any longer. With a big mouth, the raging fire suddenly spewed out and merged into the medicine tripod in front of him. Then he bent his fingers and flicked, and the receiving ring between his fingers was shining one after another. The precious medicinal materials called priceless treasures in the outside world flew out. Then, under the control of Xiao Yang's huge soul power, he was put into the medicine tripod in front of him and refined at an extremely fast speed. Soon, 2 days have passed in the outside world, and the scale snake and the great ape are still far away from each other. Outside the ancient ruins, Lengbing's and Shaoyixian are waiting in different moods. Among the speechless people, they can see how nervous and worried they are at this time when they see the frown between Lengbing's eyebrows. While everyone was silent, under a big tree not far from Lung Bingshuang, the little medical fairy who was enjoying the cool suddenly fell on Lung Bingshuang. After a little hesitation, she got up and walked towards Lung Bingshuang. When they came near, the line of sight of cold frost had already looked at the latter. They stood face to face. It seemed that everyone had something to say, but no one spoke. After a long silence, he was still a little doctor. He opened his mouth and a pair of beautiful eyes flickered slightly, which made him hesitate. "Can you walk in the woods with me? I have something to tell you." Hearing the speech, the cold frost caught the jade hand at the corner of the long skirt and couldn't help but tremble slightly. After all, he released the skirt corner between his fingers and nodded silently. Immediately, he moved towards the middle of the forest in the suspicious eyes of the people behind him. Boom! In the ancient ruins, the mountains, forests and sky, between the originally calm heaven and earth, suddenly there are thunderclouds rolling up, and the dark thunderclouds quickly cover the whole sky. However, in a short period of more than 10 interest, the light between the heaven and earth becomes dim. The rumbling thunder shocked countless warcraft in the forest of the lower Fangshan mountain, and some powerful warcraft raised their heads, showing excitement and greed in their huge eyes, and even many of them have set off towards the center of the thundercloud. Outside the cave, the scale snake and the great ape looked at the sudden scene in front of them in surprise. Then in a flash, they returned to their senses and turned their eyes together, but they all fell on the cave below, and their eyes were shocked. "This is Dan Lei. Doesn't that mean that the purple jade pill has been successfully refined? It's only been 2 days. The purple jade pill has been refined. This array is really magical." At this moment, the faces of Scale Snake and Tongtian Giant Ape are surprised. In particular, The refining of Tongtian giant ape and Ziyuden indicates that the seal in his body can be solved, and his cultivation will be completely restored to the source environment. He believes that at that time, with his cultivation of transforming the source territory, no one will be his opponent in the western region. At the thought of this, the hearts of the great apes couldn't help but rejoice. At this time, the thunder clouds changed sharply above the sky. At the same time, in the mountains and forests in the distance, many high-level warcraft rushed here. These animals obviously noticed the extraordinary pill refined by Xiao Yang and wanted to take the opportunity to compete. Seeing this scene, both the scale snake and the great ape could not help frowning. They just wanted to fight. The violent rolling thunder cloud in the sky suddenly shot a shocking thunder, and its target pointed directly to the cave below. When the thunder came into the world, the terrible smell immediately filled the world. Even if the powerful power was far away, it made people feel nervous and difficult to control. The faces of scale snake and great ape suddenly changed dramatically. The thunder brought by the 5th level pill was not easily countered by them. In addition, those warcraft were getting closer and closer to them in the mountains and forests at the moment. The current situation is extremely unfavorable to them. However, the next moment, when the thunder fell on their heads and the warcraft attacked in the mountains and forests, in the cave below, a black shadow really flashed out like a ghost, swept up the sky at an extremely terrible speed, and then a fist collided with the incoming thunder. Boom! The earth-shaking noise spread in an instant, and a terrible energy storm swept through. The powerful energy storm swept over the forest sea like a hurricane, and the mountains and forests fell. All the warcraft attacked were blown away under this powerful energy storm. In the original place, when the scale snake and the great ape looked up, they saw that the person who resisted the thunder was Xiao Yang. With one blow, the momentum of the thunder was also forcibly stopped by Xiao Yang, but the remaining strength still impacted with Xiao Yang, and even climbed up Xiao Yang's arm and rushed into his body. Seeing this, Xiao Yang's face suddenly changed slightly, his arm shook, and the power of terror suddenly attacked, shattering the remaining thunder. At the same time, his heart moved, and the strange fire in his body quickly ran up at this moment, wrapping the power of thunder into his body for crazy refining. At the bottom, the scale snake and the giant ape were shocked when they saw this scene, especially the latter. His heart was particularly clear about the horror of thunder. Even at his peak, he didn't dare to face it so easily, but Xiao Yang rushed up without half hesitation. We can see from this alone how powerful Xiao Yang is. Boom! But just at this time, when Xiao Yang just smashed the thunder, the more terrible thunder suddenly fell again in the sky and hit Xiao Yang's head, but it was shocking. However, the latter's face remained unchanged, and his eyes showed a fierce look. As soon as his body shook, the terrible giant force immediately condensed in his arms, clenched his fist with his right hand and immediately waved it. The fist wind roared and the harsh sound of sonic boom spread between heaven and earth. Then, this fist collided with the second thunder. Boom! The terrible energy storm swept across again. This time, Xiao Yang's body was shocked back by the second thunder, and his body fell hundreds of feet above the air. Only then did he frown and fix his body. Looking up at the sky, he controlled the strange fire in his body, madly refined the power of thunder, devoured all the power, and Xiao Yang's cultivation improved faintly. Aware of this, Xiao Yang was not surprised but happy. He urged Yuan Qi to dispel the paralysis from his arms. Then he jumped into the sky again and met the thunder head-on. Boom! Boom! The bombardment of dozens of thunder made Xiao Yang's face turn white, but on the contrary, the look in his eyes became more and more bright and energetic. Seeing that Xiao Yang was so strong, he stopped so many Danlei with the power of one person. The scale snake and the giant ape below were also stunned. The muscles on his face were twitching. The eyes of those looking forward seemed to be looking at a strange object. Ha ha. Yes, it's worthy of the power of heaven and earth. Come again. Suddenly, the corners of Xiao Yang's bloody mouth grinned wildly, with a fanatical look on his face. His eyes looked defiantly at the thunder clouds above the 9 days. As soon as his body shook, the source gas in his body gushed out again. His hands were lifted up quickly, his fingers were linked, and the knots were like ghosts. At the same time, a huge energy finger was above his head, it is also rapidly condensed. Mi Huang means, go. With a loud drink, the huge energy fingers over Xiao Yang's head rushed to the thunder cloud in the sky with an extremely terrible day. Boom. At the same time, the thunder clouds in the sky rolled up again, and the thunder was loud. Then a thunderbolt fell again. The destructive breath contained in it was several times stronger than before. Boom. When the two touch each other, the world is shocked, and the invisible void collapses in an instant, until the whole battle circle between Xiao Yang and the thundercloud is destroyed. Xiao Yang's body also steps into the endless void, facing the Dan Lei in a distance. It was not until a moment later that the thunder in the sky dispersed, but looking at Xiao Yang's body, I didn't know when it had disappeared into the void. Aware of this, the faces of the scale snake and the great ape suddenly changed, but then the next moment, the thundercloud on the 9 days suddenly rolled violently, and the thunder was everywhere, but it was not as violent as before. At the same time, there was a strange suction, pouring out from the thundercloud, pouring out a stream of thunder. It was ripped in. This strange scene surprised the scale snake 2 people. It was not until a long time later that the Dan Lei dispersed and exposed the figure in them. They suddenly realized that the source of the attraction was Xiao Yang, who entered the thunder cloud. At this moment, around Xiao Yang's body, there are 20 black tents standing in the void to surround Xiao Yang, and all those thunder are swallowed up by these 20 tents. After Xiao Yang's refining, they inject pure and huge energy into Xiao Yang's body. As for the 20 tabernacles, half of them come from the energy node in the cave below. After absorbing the power of the avenue in the energy node, as previously expected, there were 10 more tents condensed by Xiao Yang from the empty avenue. In addition, Xiao Yang also found that his void avenue, in addition to helping himself cross the void, has another effect, swallowing. The void avenue can help Xiao Yang swallow the energy between heaven and earth at a faster speed. After a simple refining, it flows into Xiao Yang's body, and then through the refining of Xiao Yang's different fire. Although it is not much different from the independent absorption and refining, the advantage of swallowing the energy of heaven and earth with the help of the power of the road is that Xiao Yang can swallow those more powerful energy and avoid the influence of some energy on himself. That is to say, Xiao Yang devours those thunder with the power of the road, then the power of the thunder released from it will not have any impact on Xiao Yang's flesh, but directly send it into the different fire for refining and absorption. In this way, Xiao Yang's absorption of the power of the thunder is accelerated from another angle. For a long time, when Xiao Yang got up from the void, the power of thunder in his body had been refined by Xiao Yang to become a huge energy, integrated into the cyclone in Xiao Yang and become a part of himself. After refining these energies, Xiao Yang is also pleased to find that his cultivation has improved a little, which not only stabilized the cultivation in the later stage of the source environment, but also improved accordingly. This is an unexpected joy. It not only enhanced the power of the road, but also improved his cultivation. In addition, he also accepted the great ape of Tongtian, the strong man at the level of source environment. I have to say that Xiao Yang gained a lot from his trip to the ancient ruins. Lower down, Xiao Yang took back the medicine tripod and the purple jade pill from the cave, and then returned to the scale snake. Seeing Xiao Yang coming down, the great ape immediately came forward with an excited face, looked at Xiao Yang with a pile of smiles, and hurriedly asked, "I don't know the purple jade pill refined by Sir." "Here it is." Without any hesitation, Xiao Yang threw a purple pill the size of a longan in his hand to the former. Seeing this, the great ape quickly and carefully caught it, but it was a scale snake on one side. His eyes looked at Xiao Yang hesitantly, with a worried color in his eyes. When he saw a confident smile from the corner of Xiao Yang's mouth, he was secretly relieved. After all, Xiao Yang has been on the mainland for many years. He has extraordinary experience. Scale snake can think of it. How can he not think of it? Although the great ape in front of him has obtained the purple jade pill, even if he has recovered his cultivation with the help of the pill, it will not be difficult for Xiao Yang to kill him once he has any thoughts. Sure enough, the great ape who got the purple jade pill didn't have any hesitation. After confirming that the pill was correct, he quickly took the pill, then sat down, and began to break the seal in the body with the help of the pill in the open space not far from Xiao Yang. About 2 hours later, the giant ape sitting in the sky suddenly opened his closed eyes. At the same time, an extremely strong breath also burst out from his body. Its breath is stronger than that in the middle of the chemical source. What's the matter? Why did you only recover to the middle of Huiyuan territory? Boy, what did you do to me? As soon as he realized that the cultivation in his body was wrong, the great ape suddenly changed his face, looked at Xiao Yang gloomily, and took a fierce color in the depths of his eyes. Hey, did you turn your face and don't recognize people? He sneered in his heart. Then Xiao Yang took another step forward, shook his head and smiled, looked up at the former and said, I said, you can't even see the pill in your hand. It's good that Ziyu pill can release the seal for you, but its effect is only within 10 years after the cultivation is sealed. You've been sealed here for many years. It's good to be able to recover to this level. If you want to recover to the peak, I'm afraid you have to find another way. What are you talking about? Hearing the speech, the great ape was stunned. Unexpectedly, the method of unsealing that he had always thought could not help him recover all his strength. In this way, in the face of Xiao Yang in front of him, wouldn't he suffer a lot? I won't play anymore. I'll see you later. The muscles on his face twitched. Suddenly, the great ape turned around and wanted to start and rush out of the ruins. Great ape, you promised me to join my power. Why do you want to go back now? Xiao Yang narrowed his eyes and smiled jokingly. When he heard the speech, the latter grinned with a sneer and said sarcastically, yes, I promised you, but it was only before you restored all my strength for me, but now you haven't done it. Why should I abide by the agreement? After that, the great ape wanted to leave. However, just as he turned around, Xiao Yang raised his palm and made a crisp snap between his fingers. Then, in the next moment, among the countless paws of the great ape, strands of light blue flame rose abruptly, but in the blink of an eye, it wrapped the whole person in it. The sudden change also made the action of the great ape suddenly solidified. His heart was full of horror. He just wanted to mobilize the source gas in his body, but Xiao Yang behind him sneered. I advise you not to try to mobilize the source qi in your body, otherwise the strange fire on you will only become stronger and stronger. Then you will destroy yourself and I can't save you. Hearing the speech, the great ape in the sky was shocked. His body was still in the void and said in an angry voice without looking back. Boy, you're mean. Hehe, I'm just in case. If you follow me obediently, I won't use this means. What, do you still want to leave now? Don't deceive people too much. I'll never be bound by anyone. That's no. Xiao Yang smiled and his eyes narrowed. At the same time, the flame burning on the former's body surface suddenly became more fierce at the next moment. The terrible temperature was released slightly, so he called the great ape out a fierce howl. Enough, enough. I promise you, I promise you. After all, the great ape roared and responded, and Xiao Yang also smiled, and his heart moved. The flames burning on the former also dispersed. Hehe, if you were more straightforward, you would save me this effort. Looking at the person in front of him faintly, Xiao Yang jumped forward and led the two people behind him to go to the layman of the ancient ruins at a very fast speed. When the three of Xiao Yang came out of the ancient ruins one after another, everyone was still waiting here. When Leng Bingshuang and Xie saw the naked man behind Xiao Yang, they couldn't help but be surprised by his breath. He is also a strong man in the middle of Huiyuan territory, which is an absolute combat power for them now. Of course, when people noticed the great ape, the latter naturally focused on Kia and Cold Frost. When he saw Kia, he couldn't help but feel a burst of surprise at the latter's youth. It's hard to imagine that a little girl who still looks a little childish would be a strong person at the level of source environment, and her cultivation is no less than what she is now. This guy, there should be such a monster around him. His heart was slightly surprised. Then, when he set his eyes on the Cold Frost, the whole person's face changed suddenly, and the whole person's body trembled involuntarily. She. The great ape turned pale, his lips and teeth trembled, and his fear was unspeakable. In the face of Cold Frost, he not only felt a kind of suppression from cultivation, but also felt the special breath in the latter, which came from the blood of the Emperor of Warcraft. The pressure from the blood made him feel a deep panic. He even couldn't help the impulse to kneel down to the latter. The law of the world of Warcraft is simple and overbearing. In the face of an existence with medium and high blood of Warcraft, even if there is little difference in cultivation between the two, it will also lose all its combat power. At the moment, the great ape in the sky is just like this in the face of cold and frost. Hum. At this time, Lung Bingshuang suddenly gave a cold hum to Xiao Yang, and the frightened great ape suddenly returned to his mind, quickly controlled his emotions and bowed his head to one side. Xiao Yang did not know why. He looked at the cold frost and immediately saw the indifferent look on the pretty face of the little doctor. He immediately had a bad feeling in his heart. As for the others, they were silent and silent. The atmosphere in the world was inexplicably stiff. This strange atmosphere lasted until the group returned to the depths of the Shaolin Mountains. When people came back here again, they found that many strong men in Xiaomen were solemnly surrounding the young people in white on a mountain. Their fighting spirit was condensed on the body surface and looked covetous, which seemed extremely cautious. Young people sit quietly, their eyes closed and don't say a word. They seem to be waiting for something. When Xiao Yang and others came here, the latter's closed eyes suddenly opened, and his eyes fell on Xiao Yang in front of the crowd. At the same time, Xiao Yang's eyes have already noticed the existence of the latter. However, the corners of his mouth involuntarily aroused a smile. The arrival of this is a timely help. Xiao Yang is particularly familiar with the smell of this person. It is the young master of Murong family who met in Tianjua ancient tomb, and Murong Xian, Murong Qianqian's brother. At the beginning, Murong Xian had a lot of hostility towards Xiao Yang. However, after the incident of Yi Luotian, the relationship between them has eased a lot. This time, Xiao Yang's warm smile is the former. At the first sight of seeing Xiao Yang, his eyes are full of shock. Murongshuan clearly remembered that Xiao Yang had returned to the depths of Tianjua ancient tomb alone, and then the whole cave began to collapse. It is reasonable that Xiao Yang should have been in the meteorite tomb, but now, the latter is actually intact here, which really shocked him and made him happy. In addition, what surprised Murong Xian most was Xiao Yang's accomplishments. He can clearly notice that Xiao Yang's breath is much stronger than him. After several years, coupled with the inheritance obtained from Tianjua ancient tomb, Murong Xian's cultivation has reached the initial stage of Huiyuan territory, which is only one step away from the middle stage of Huiyuan territory. Unfortunately, although such accomplishments can be called demons in most young people, they are much different from Xiao Yang at this time. Murongshuan, why are you here? For this person, Lung Bingshuang is undoubtedly more familiar than Xiao Yang. At the moment of seeing the latter, Lung Bingshuang couldn't help but wonder. Hehe, Sister Bingshuang, I have something to tell you this time, but you are a little big to welcome people. Murong Xian glanced at the people of Xiao family around him and couldn't help laughing. Xiao Yang and others also came near, and the people withdrew. Hehe, Brother Murong, I haven't seen you for years. How are you recently? As soon as he arrived near, Xiao Yang opened with a smile on his face. At the same time, a pair of shining eyes also looked up and down at the latter, and then nodded, showing a satisfied look in his eyes. If he can have the help of the people in front of him, he will undoubtedly add a lot of chances to win the war against Qin Huangmi Valley. Noticing Xiao Yang's naked gaze, Murong Xian was shocked. It was the cold frost behind him. He frowned at Xiao Yang and asked in doubt. Why, do you know each other? Yes, I had a few friends with Mr. Xiao Yang in Tianjua ancient tomb. Murong Xian stared at Xiao Yang in front of him, and his eyes twinkled slightly. Ha ha, it's more than just a few sides. At the beginning, Yi Luotian united with Qin Yun, the leader of the little valley of Qin Huangmi Valley, but he almost killed Brother Murong. Don't you forget these. At the smell of the speech, Xiao Yang grinned, but there was some deliberate smell in the speech. At the smell of the speech, the former also thanked Xiao Yang with a dry smile, but it was cold and frost. Liu Mai frowned and said in a low tone. Why, have you been in contact with people in Qin Huangmi Valley? As soon as this remark came out, Murong Xian was helpless. She clearly came with a task. Now she was mentioned about the original thing, and she seemed to care very much about it. In desperation, Murong Xian roughly explained the trouble that Yi Luotian and his gang had taken the initiative to find them. Although Leng Bingxiang only listened to a general idea, she could understand how dangerous it was. She was just a little surprised at Xiao Yan's action. Yi Luo Tian. Qin Huang lost the valley. In 10 days, the king will make you pay the price of bleeding. Cold Frost's cold eyes stared at the emptiness in front of him. The jade hand slowly clenched. When his jade hand became a fist, the emptiness in front of him burst with a bang. This scene made several people behind him feel cold. Even Xiao Yang couldn't help but subconsciously turn his mouth. But then, the words from Leng Bingshuang's mouth made Xiao Yang happy. Murong Xian, you should stay in Shilin mountain range recently. 10 days later, when we fight with Qin Huangmi Valley, we will take back your original shame. This video will end here.